We talked all about style, but sometimes style isn't just about what's in the shot and what you're wearing. Style can actually come through in the edit as well. When it comes to video editing, setting up your project and making sure that your project is organized and color-coded is so important. When you look at the timeline, you can say, that there is this camera because it's this color. It's key. That's my biggest tip. We're going to look at a portion of our Heading East project. This is actually the intro section to episode 1. And I'm just gonna kind of use that as an example. And we talked about this project when we talked about the mood board. So let's dive into it. So I have a number of bins here for different things. We'll just walk through them. VO, which is voiceover. That's the voiceover part of the video. We have a folder for titles, a folder for sound effects, one for sequences and music. This here is the actual sequence. And then we have the footage. And within the footage folder, I always organize my footage by camera. So in here, you can see I have a folder for GoPro and a folder for my A7S III, which is my main camera. Within these folders is all of the footage from the shoot. So in the GoPro folder, there's only one clip in here, but in the A7S III folder, we have 2 days of shooting. So for me and my workflow, it's important that I import my footage per shoot day. And then within that shoot date is all of the files from that shoot. Now, some people might have a different workflow. If you'd prefer to do day 1, day 2, day 3 instead of the actual date, that's okay too. Just do whatever works best for you and that makes the most sense. I'm just gonna start at the top of my bin and we're gonna just color code down. This is my formula. Feel free to pick whatever colors you want that make the most sense. I'm just gonna go ahead and right click and we're gonna come down to label and I'm just gonna tag that as Caribbean. For titles, I'm going to come down and label those as tan. Sound effects, sequences, and music, I'm going to tag those all as Caribbean as well. We're going to tag the actual edit, like the sequence that we're going to be editing in, as green. And then we're going to open up the footage folder and we're going to see our GoPro folder and our A7S III folder. This is actually one of the most important color tagging parts. When you have different cameras that require different types of color grading. I always tag my GoPro clips as green. So come down here and tag those as green. And then my A7S III clips always stay as the color iris. Now, if I had some footage in this bin here that was slow motion, say shot at 60 frames per second, I would tag that as mango and then interpret that footage to 24 frames per second so it played back slow motion. Don't feel like you have to use my color labeling format as yours. Pick your own, pick the colors that you like. If you don't like green, choose pink, magenta, whatever works. Just make sure that it's consistent for every single project you do. So no matter what project you open, you know exactly what's footage, what's titles, and what is a sequence in your bin. We now have our project bin set up. Everything is color coded. We're all organized. Now we're ready to jump into the timeline. We are going to create a new sequence based on the settings in which we shot our main camera angle. So for me, I shoot everything on my A7S III in 4K, 422 10-bit at 24 frames per second. In order to start a new timeline, you just come down to new item and go sequence, and then this window pops up. You're gonna come over to settings, and this is where you're gonna change your parameters. You're gonna put in all your settings in which you shot your video. But the easier way to do this to ensure that you have the proper timeline settings is to actually just take a clip from your main angle and just drag it and drop it right into the thing that says right here, drop media here to create sequence. Foolproof way to make sure that your sequence settings are correct. In order to do that, you open up your footage. A7S III is my main camera angle, drag it and drop it, and the sequence settings match my main camera angle. So we're just gonna close that real quick because that's not the sequence we're gonna use. We're gonna use this one here, which is already partially edited. Now we're gonna start going through footage and adding choice clips to the timeline. Culling footage or going through your footage can be very overwhelming. And you don't really need to think about the edit at this point. This is just getting your favorite choice clips that work with the tone and vibe of your video and your outline and getting them down into the timeline. What I like to do here is open my clips up in the source window and I'll play through them, setting in and out points for the choice portions of the clip that I like, and then I'll send those down into the timeline. So I've opened this clip and you'll see this looking a little bit gray. We shot this footage in S-Log3, so it has a very flat look. And we'll talk about bringing back that contrast when we talk about color grading. So I'll start at the very beginning of the clip. I'll use the spacebar to press play. As soon as we find a portion of that clip that we want, I'm gonna hit I on my keyboard to set an in point. And then I'm gonna continue playing until that part of the clip is over that I want to keep. I'll hit O on my keyboard to set an out point, and then I'll hit the comma keyboard command and send that directly down into the timeline. Using keyboard commands, especially at this phase in the editing stage, is super key. It will make this whole process go a lot faster. I'll do this for every single clip in my project, whether it's 1 day of shooting, 10 days of shooting. It might be a lot of footage in the timeline and it can get a little bit overwhelming, but doing it this way ensures that you have key clips down into your timeline so that once you've gone through all your footage and put your choice clips down in the timeline, you can start all the way back at the beginning and watch it through in 2x speed and just start cutting out the bulk, cutting out the things that are not necessary to the story, not necessary to the vision, to the value that you're trying to get through in your video. Once you get your entire timeline cut down, we're gonna talk about adding music and sound design to your videos and how that can really bring your storytelling to the next level.